Hello Orchid friends, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time watching my video, my channel is all about orchids. From what orchids I have, how I grow them, my thoughts on certain orchid topics, to what orchids in my collection are blooming, etc. So if you want to follow along my orchid hobby adventure, please consider subscribing to my channel and turn on the notification. Today in this video, we are going to look at the Keikis of two of my Phalaenopsis orchid, and then toward the end of the video, I would also give you some quick updates on three of the orchids that I have, but I don't usually talk about them. And for the order of the orchid that we're gonna go into is we're gonna start with the orchid on the right, and then we'll talk about the orchid on the left, and then we'll go into the last three orchids. First up is my Phalaenopsis Pokhara. This is a orchid species, and in mid-March 2018, it was shooting out a spike, and I was so thrilled, and it was actually featured in one of my Orchid 2 soon to bloom video at the time. And you know, it was also producing quite a bit of area roots, so I know that this orchid was in a very happy state. And for those of you who don't know, Pokhara is waxy. The flower is waxy and is in dark purple/red color. And about 2.5 months went by. In June 2018, it started to shoot out some leaf, and I realized, oh my gosh, it was not going to bloom. It was going to produce a Keiki. And around end of July, it was producing 2 leaves. And then pretty soon, mid-August, it was shooting out 2 roots. But it was still pretty small at the time. But just so you know, this orchid is still potted in the media of hydrocorn and manto clay, and it's a 1-to-1 ratio. It's grown in semi-hydro setup, and it's really liking it, and it's also has produced quite a bit of area roots. And right now, I really don't have any plan to remove this Keiki because I really want to conserve more space for potentially more orchids. But that's like slightly, beside the point here. This orchid at the time had 2 leaves, 2 roots, and then there was something going on at the base, but then back in August, you can see 3 more roots have grown out, and it's more obvious that at the bottom of there was something growing. Maybe it's another Keiki, maybe it's a flower spike of the Keiki, I don't know, but this is kind of how it looked at the time. And then October 10th 2018, I noticed that it was growing a new leaf in the middle, and the older roots of this Keiki also grew longer. And by mid-December 2018, the Keiki had become so heavy that the spike is almost horizontal. And of course, it's grown on the very top of my shelf, so it's not too much of a problem, but I still would like to do something so that it's not taking so much horizontal space, which I value greatly because there is only limited space that me as an orchid hobbyist can have in my own home, and if I can grow more stuff vertically, it will be better. So I was thinking, what should I do to potentially make it so that it would not take up so much space? And this is what I did. I basically staked it so that it's more upright. And that really totally solved the problem, because I don't have any plan of removing the keiki from the mother plant just yet. Because, if the mother plant is doing well and it's receiving enough nutrients, keeping the keiki on the mother plant for longer would also help the keiki to grow faster and to become mature faster. Because you know what? Keiki, sometimes it would take years for them to become mature and become flowering size. For me, I never really quite like keiki because for me, the ROI, return on investment, is just not that great. And I really just don't have the patience for it. I mean, don't get me wrong, keikis are cute. When your orchids are producing babies, it's all cute and stuff. But you know what? It's not for me. I want my orchid to bloom so I can enjoy the bloom. Okay, so this is just to show you the roots in the media. Ever since I transferred it to this particular method in this media, it's doing fine. It's never had any adjustment period that it reacted badly. And here is just to show you that the keiki is growing really well too. The leaves are so shiny, so waxy, and the new leaf that the mother plant is growing is also very waxy. So I know this orchid is happy. I don't have a whole lot of experience with keikis, but based on my research and what I read online, if you want to remove a keiki from the mother plant, you really have to have at least 3 leaves, 3 roots that are at least 3 inches or more, just so you know. And this is what I have learned. It's not something I discovered, just in case you wondered. And coming up, we're gonna start shift our attention to the orchid on the left here. It's the second one that's producing a keiki. The mother plant is currently in water culture, and it's a welcome phal. It's a white Phalaenopsis orchid, no ID, that I received from my colleagues when I moved down to the Austin, Texas area. And back in May, end of May 2018, I noticed that something was growing, and then it took it about 4 months before the root tips start to be visible. But then once it started to grow roots, within 2 weeks, the roots were pretty long, noticeably longer. And then by end of December 2018, it had already had 4 leaves, and the roots were just growing very well too. So I guess, during that 4 months period, it was just a period where the mother plant or the keiki, they were simply resting, dormant, doing whatever it needed to do. And then as soon as the season was right, or the condition was right, it just took off like that. Roots production and also the leaf production it was just so fast. So in a way, I guess we can call that active growth. And next is my Violacea Coerulea type. This one, I got it as a near blooming size or near mature size plant, but the bottom 2 biggest leaves were the older leaves. And then ever since I got it, it had a bit of a root problem, and that might have been the reason why it started to produce 5 smaller leaves. And ever since then, I had put it back into this semi-hydro hybrid with inorganic media. And end of September this year, early October 2018, it started to grow this bigger leaf, and finally I feel like this orchid is out of the small stubby leaves spell. Maybe the condition is right now, and finally is correct, right? With the right condition, with the right temperature, and even the right kind of nutrients that I'm giving it, it's finally growing bigger leaves. And then end of December 2018, it was growing another new leaf, and judging by the color and the shape of it, I think it's going to be another much bigger leaves. So keep my fingers crossed, keep your fingers crossed. I hope this one is on the right track to full recovery. And this is just a video clip on the same orchid. So you can see I use double cup method to give this orchid a semi-hydro hybrid approach. So essentially, the inner cup still has holes at the bottom, 3 holes, but at the outer cup really is working as a saucer. So if I want, I can leave maybe 1/2 inch or maybe a little bit less than that of water at the very bottom, so that gives me the semi-hydro approach. And the reason I use this method for this orchid is because based on what I've read and what people have shared with me, Violacea, this orchid, this species, is very fond of high moisture and high water. Obviously, you don't want to have it so much that the roots rot, but so far it's working very well. And this is a dendrobium. It's just a cutting, and end of May it was shooting out a new growth, but by end of the year 2018 it had already grown quite a bit of roots, and some of the roots were already reaching the bottom. This is really a small 4-inch saucer, and I just decided to lay on top of it and keep moist, and it grew this new growth this year, right? And it's currently dropping leaves because this orchid needs to have winter dormancy, winter rest. So it's currently losing leaves, but hopefully this will continue to grow, and I will keep you posted on this orchid's development. And this is just a Bellina alba Keiki or seedling that I purchased from eBay. Since then, it's growing a new root and a new leaf, but I just have to tell you, when I first got it, it was so small, and I didn't really pay close attention to the photo and the actual proportion of the leaves to the ruler. I thought this was a much bigger plant, but when I got it, I was in shock. But thankfully, it's now growing again, so with the right care, I'm hoping I will be able to nurse this one to a mature size so that I can share its bloom with you. And the moral of the story here is, when you buy something online, especially you're bidding for something, you really want to make sure that you're buying or asking the right questions, so you know what kind of plant and the kind of size that you're getting. This is all I have for you today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you would like to get more orchid related videos from my channel, please subscribe and turn on the notification. I want to wish you happy growing, and I will talk to you in my next video. Ciao!